reintroduced Mr. Randy McCraine. Randy works for, he's the divisional manager for Heartland Business Solutions. And he's worked his background has worked in payments, technology, development, sales, marketing, business development, and operational effectiveness. So he is very well suited to the subject matter at hand, which is manage your business today for tomorrow's opportunity. Welcome, Randy. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you very much. I'll start off by just saying this. For some of you, you may be familiar with Heartland. You may have had people call on you from Heartland. I'm not sure, but it might be very likely. We've been in business for well over 20 years, and we service probably 400 merchants right now with our technology solutions, which includes payments, payroll, HR, customer engagement, just a number of different that we do. Lending being one of the big ones that everybody's had the hot topic about. And that's about all I'll say about us. If you want to know more, you can ask. I'm not here to pitch you on Heartland, but just to let you know what we do. I'm going to go to the next slide. All right. It says here, small business today need a better way to get the capital they need. Now, this is going to be very specifically just to kind of recap the funding and the PPP loans with the SBA and the CARES Act. Just to kind of briefly go over that. If there's anything deeper that we might want to get into, please ask. And at some point, I guess maybe at the end, how we're managing that, and we can try to dive deeper into it. I also want to point out too that when it says you need a better way to get the capital you need, that doesn't necessarily, we're not just talking about loans, and we'll kind of go through that as we go through some of the slides in ways that you can be bringing in revenue, potentially, whether your business is essential or non-essential or what's taking place today. So for many of you, if you've participated in the payroll protection program, the first round was $349 million, or $49 billion, $349 billion. And it went quickly. There was a lot of things that happened that perhaps looking back on it maybe shouldn't have, with regards to the bigger companies getting loans and things of that nature. There were a lot of small businesses that missed the first round. But they did come back with a second one. And I will tell you that if you are fortunate enough to have gotten in this and gotten your funds, you're in a good place. If not, and you're sitting there waiting for the second round, then let's hope it gets through, because I know it was backed up waiting for this to come around. There's already some hints of a possible third round, but I don't know that they've gotten far enough in that conversation to say that would be confirmed. But with that being said, this program is put out to provide disaster relief, to put people back to work, to get them back on their payroll. And after the first weeks of this program, you'll have to go back in and apply again for forgiveness, and the entire amount can be forgiven if you validate that you used it for the purposes of its intended intention. And I don't have much more to go into that. There's a lot of information around that. There's the EIDL loan, which is part of the debt relief, which I've already talked to a few businesses that got theirs. So that was directly through the SBA. That was a $10,000 possible. Originally it said $10,000. Then they changed the rules to say $1,000 per employee, up to $10,000. It was intended to bridge the businesses up until they got either their SBA debt relief or they got their payroll protection plan. The problem is it's just now starting to hit bank accounts. So yeah, it did not come fast enough or as fast as they said it would. But I can confirm, even today, I talked to someone that got $1,000 in their account for their one person. So it is coming, and possibly today, if you did file for this and you haven't seen it. The SBA debt relief is basically a program, if you currently have an SBA loan, that they'll waive 6 months of payments for those current loans, and that's pretty significant if you're already involved with them. Do we want to wait for questions until we get at the end, or how are we?
Yeah, we can go ahead and move on.
Okay, all right.
We'll wait till the end.
Okay,
I'll probably have a couple of questions in between, but
Okay.
taking them from the audience, we'll wait till the end.
All right. So here's some things that we're talking about, and when I say we, I mean myself, any business owner that I'm speaking with, anyone who is shut down, non-essential, they say. Things are starting to perhaps open up a little bit tomorrow. We'll see. But the biggest thing was, is your business online? I can tell you that there are non-essential businesses out there that are still in operation, not necessarily at their brick and mortar, but because of online.
Right.
Now, we can talk about online being a retail store, whether it be clothing, a boutique, um, very big for the restaurant business. That's pretty much the one of the few ways outside of Uber Eats and some others that they've been able to bring orders in up until now. So is your business online? If it's not online, I really suggest you get online. And that's going to remain essential. If you do it today to get revenue in the door, tomorrow it's just going to be a benefit and an extra avenue for customers who sit on their couch and order. I don't know how many of you sit around with your phone in your hand. I don't know how many of you bought something you never intended to buy because you saw it on your phone and thought, well, gosh, I need one of those. It's just our environment, and it will continue to be beyond COVID and the situation we're in right now.
Right.
So if you're not online, I strongly suggest looking at it. Curbside pickup, we would have had this conversation more directed towards restaurants a few days ago, maybe a few weeks ago. But I can tell you, and I'll throw this out for anybody that may be familiar with them, Richardson Bike Mart in Richardson. They're doing curbside pickup for bicycles. So if you go there and buy a bicycle online, they'll call you, and then they'll set it up for curbside pickup for you to pick up your bicycle when you get there. You can't go in the store and shop. You can't go in and walk around and browse. But they are doing curbside pickup. Again, I'm using a retail group there because I think we all are familiar right now with restaurants and curbside pickup. But same thing applies there. Order online, curbside pickup. The online products that you can get these days, you can set a time. I want to pick it up at 2:30.
Right.
When you show up, you text them, they bring it out to you. Grubhub, Uber Eats, we're all probably more familiar with them today. I left a few of them out of here. DoorDash. There's a few others.
So I think I have almost all of those on my phone.
I know, and you know what? For what they do, they're a good service. For probably during the COVID, they've been a good service. I know a lot of businesses are connected with them, but if you're a business owner, you also know that you're paying for that service.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying you're paying for that service. You can create.
Well, if I can interject one other thing, like one thing that each and every one of those services are doing, specifically like the food delivery places, they know that the restaurants, a lot of these local restaurants are the most vulnerable and economically speaking. And so they have, a donation, you can actually donate extra money to almost like an additional tip to go towards those restaurants, which I think is an added benefit, makes it a little bit more, community focused, so it makes it a lot more personal.
Yes.
So I think that's a good takeaway. But I actually have a question for you.
Okay.
Related to that. So what are some of the trends that you're seeing for off-premise orders in the restaurant industry?
Okay. Off-premise, if no one's familiar with that term, that's ordering in any fashion outside of going in the restaurant. That's drive-through, that's online, that's curbside pickup. Off-premise kind of is a self-descriptive, but that's what it means. 77% of buyers are actually going to go to your website and look at your menu before they go to the restaurant. Especially today, given the opportunity and knowing that having the potential to order while they're shopping is huge. So if you're not there, again, I'd suggest looking at it.
Okay.
There's a large category of this business has grown, and if there's a lot of information, by the way, if you're on the restaurant side. Look at the National Restaurant Association. They have tons of information and stats that you can look at for technology-driven solutions and how this is helping restaurants. That in itself alone isn't going to stop. It's going to remain the same as we move forward. So this is something you can do now, but it will continue to serve you later. Did that answer the question?
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Randy.
You bet. Are you social networking? Again, this is not really something you have to pay for. This is something you can go out and create yourself. This is something that you can be doing, and if you're not, it's something you might want to look into. This is a way of reaching out to your audience to let them know you're open, to let them know, post something on your site if you're not getting posts. Keep it recent. If I go to a Facebook page for a restaurant and I look at it and the last thing that was posted was a year ago, I'm going to make some assumptions. So if you commit to this, you'll be able to reach out to people. People will come there and look for you, with everybody spending as much time as we do on Facebook. And you need to appear to be active, especially if you're in business. If you're not in business, be active. You don't necessarily have to say we're open, but let them know you're closed. But continue to communicate with them. Communicate that you're going to open back up as soon as we can. It's just different things. It's something that's free. It just takes a little bit of energy, but it'll be very helpful in maintaining your connection with the audience. I put here, this is kind of in the same category, but I put here post-specific content. What I mean by that, if you sell pencils, post something on your Facebook page that really engages your audience in what you do with pencils. Build a house with it, like Lego, something. It's entertainment, but it also keeps you in the loop. It keeps your customers active, and it continues to make you a resource for whatever your specific focus is.
Right.
So if you're a tailor, show some things on how to stitch or how to crochet or something. You get where I'm going here. Post specific content and make yourself a resource, and again, engage those people. Okay, next slide. Gift cards. I bring this up because this is revenue for today, for service tomorrow. That's how I view it. You need to get some revenue in the door. If you're non-essential, you're retail, gift cards are a good solution for that. It'll get revenue in today for a service that you're going to commit to later. All this kind of ties in too to make sure that those people know you're in business or going to be in business. You're just not open because they won't allow you to open. Because that will obviously have an effect on the value of the gift cards in their mind. The second thing is, and Susan, you mentioned donations through Grubhub and whatnot.
Right.
I run into these experiences. I have a RV repair company. They don't sell RVs, they just repair them. So what they've done is they are putting a gift card program out there for users of RVs and saying, if you buy a $100 gift card from us today, we will send you a $120 value gift card. So they're going to add a little bit of value to it to entice those people to purchase it, because those people know they still have an RV. They know they're still going to have service, just not today.
Randy, you bring up a really good point here, because when I think of gift cards, I think of retail space. I think of retail, like, stores and food,
right.
Clothing and that kind of thing. So this is also for, services rendered, like, professional services as well, which, a lot of our a lot of our members within the chamber have professional services and contracting and consulting services. So I guess this is something that they could potentially do for future.
Absolutely. And there's other things, and
Interesting.
to tie it back to the donation front.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of that, the RV people, again, I'm going to use them as another example here. Um, you buy a gift card from them, and they will donate to. There's a group called RV for Doctors, I think it is, or RVs for MDs, where
Mm-hmm.
they're people who are not using the RV right now are loaning those RVs to nurses and doctors and whatnot that can't go home and stay with their family because they're afraid of infecting them. So they're loaning
Oh,
them their
wow.
RV. They can park it at their house or wherever, and they can still have a place to go and sleep like that. So they're using this gift
Wow.
card. Yeah, it's pretty
It's
neat.
awesome.
So they're using this gift card for their audience who are RVers for a fundraising effort that RVers are that's part of the RVer community. So again, it kind of goes back to what you were talking about with Uber Eats and how they're putting back into the community. Find something that appeals to your constituents. Find something that appeals. If you're a service company in a community, maybe think about something like this. Put a gift card together and donate to something that's tight with your customers.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just bring more meaning to it, and especially today. Um, Customer engagement. I sit here now. Customer engagement. When I use this term, I'm meaning something like Constant Contact or MailChimp or some of those things. If you've ever used those, you don't necessarily have to. You can sit down and try to format emails yourself. Um, but make sure that you understand you have your client base, you know who they are, and you're communicating with them. If it's not through Facebook or not through Twitter or Instagram, it can be directly. It can be via
Okay.
texting. It can be via emails, something. Just send out business updates. If you were closed, send out a business update.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to inform them. It's essential. Even when we talked about Facebook and whatnot, that's one avenue, but this is directly to your clients.
Right.
If you're
So I've
doing,
got a question for you, Randy.
sure.
When is it too many? When is it too much? Like how
Uh,
frequent should we be sending communications?
You know what? I would say it depends on two things. Number one is the size of the communication. You don't want to send them a book.
Right.
Just a quick hello, we're open. If there's a change in your business, you know what? We're going to be able to open the doors up for curbside. We wanted you to be aware of that. This is more of communicating where you're at with your business with your clients. Facebook you can use for stitching and crocheting and whatever else you can
Mm-hmm.
put videos out there. You wouldn't want to do that via this way because you are communicating directly with them, but it's just engaging them maybe once a month. If you once every 2 weeks, something. I guess it would have to be defined. I know some places I get things from every day, and at some point
Right.
I get irritated by that.
Right.
But so you need to engage. You need to know who they are. I would not get crazy with it, but just be informative. Give them something worthwhile. Don't repeat the same thing twice. Use it for what we call customer engagement and educating your customer on where your business is at. I use this here to offer discounts, offer network referrals. If you're open, um, you can use your customer engagement piece specifically to the people that have come to you before. They've shopped in your store, they've ate at your restaurant, they've used your service, and begin to offer them some type of discount to get them coming back. Maybe it's 10% off. I mean, you can come up with all kinds of ideas here, but get them coming back. You can send this directly to them so you know that you're talking to someone that has done business with you in the past, and then get them back. Start drawing them back. If
Mm-hmm.
it's just like I said earlier, I'm going to be a little hesitant to go jump out to my frequent restaurant down the road on Friday when they're, you know, opening up to 25%. I'm going to be a little hesitant. Pull me in. Find something that draws me out there, makes me get beyond my security, and give it a shot and come back. Um,
Right.
you know, so but that when I say discounts, that it can be something else. It doesn't have to be a discount. Maybe there's a extra meal in it or something, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Choose your business and decide that. Network referrals is probably just as traditional as anything else, and that is have someone within your customer engagement piece send somebody over. Um, this is their referral programs now built into POS systems, and I'm not saying
Right.
I'm not saying use one of those. What I am saying though, reach out to your clients, draw them in with something, and ask them to bring a friend.
Right.
Maybe that's part of the quote unquote discount. You know, bring somebody with you, and we'll give you something. Whatever the case may be. But you're just trying to draw people in. You're just trying to educate them. That's what customer engagement is all about. Next, no touch business operations. For the service industry, you mentioned that earlier. This has been quite the thing. Um, if you have a AC guy come out and work on your air conditioner, everybody's trying to maintain their distance. But he's probably maybe coming into your house. He's having to walk around outside, whatever the case is. But the no touch business operations, you don't have to come into contact with that person for them to service you and then for you to pay for those services. There are
Mm-hmm.
ways around that. And for example, I throw out e-invoicing. These are products that you can use that if you provide a service, you send them an invoice, they sit down on their computer and pay it while you're sitting at the door, and it's all done. There's no touch. There's no need to hand them a machine or you hand them a credit card or have that contact there. So it provides that no touch business. There are mobile payment solutions where people can go onto their phone and pay. There's so many different things that are out there um, that it just provides that security for all of us right now, and knowing that I don't have to be near you in order for you to come out
Right.
and fix my air conditioning. And there are systems that are flexible enough that, even if your AC guy did come out and work on your house and for some reason or another you needed a filter, he can add it to the invoice right there and send you the invoice, and it's all paid for right at the end of the day. And nobody's came in contact with each other. This applies for restaurants as well as service companies and others as well. This is all part of the business that we're in today.
Right. I know, was it PayPal and Venmo are very, utilized all the time for this reason. And even if you don't have like a formal method of payment, and Venmo and PayPal are good for that.
Right, right. And I threw out Google Hangout. Obviously, we're using WebEx today. Microsoft has Teams, Zoom, all these different online things that are just booming
Mm-hmm.
today. Um, old happy hour. Doesn't mean you have to serve drinks, but y'all can all sit around and have one together. It's I've seen a number of those things. Sponsor some type of again, a class or something that pertains to your client base that they would be interested in joining you for, much like we're doing right here.
Mm-hmm.
Get them drawn in, invite them in, and again, you're talking about something here that really does not cost anything, and unless you have to buy a Google Hangout subscription or something. But I think the Microsoft Teams is free. Um, but you can do this and provide that service for your clients. Get people to join you. Sit around while we're all sitting at home working and talk about what you're doing. Um, that would be another form of no touch business operations. The sales guys aren't out there saying hello and shaking hands today. It's all about Google Hangout or one of these services. How are we doing so far?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Moving on. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Next one. Um, so just to kind of just briefly recap this, and I tried to kind of go through some of this stuff. I didn't really dive off into a lot of detail, but a lot of the things that I'm talking about are available to you, whether they be for free or as part of a service, from Heartland or someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if you haven't taken advantage of the CARES Act and the lending, do so. You can apply for the SBA loans on sba.gov. Um, You can apply for the PPP loans with any bank. We do it as well. Bank, credit unions, and then what we call fintech companies, which is Heartland. We all do those lending. So if you haven't done so, get involved in it and keep your fingers crossed. That's that we're all hoping for that.
Right. That's right.
What are you doing to create revenue streams? If you're sitting back waiting for the loans, if you're not engaging in your business today, if you're waiting, there's opportunities there to generate revenue streams potentially, and certainly create an encounter with your customers and keep them activated and keep them from just forgetting about who you are while they haven't been coming by. Look at doing those things. Now, I mentioned the gift cards. That's a revenue stream.
Right.
Customer engagement can potentially be revenue streams depending on what you're offering or whatnot. It could be used to promote your gift card program. Just a number of different things. But what are you doing today to create revenue? Are you driving your customers through Facebook? Are you customer engaging? Are you selling gift cards? What are you doing today? Think about those things and try to figure out where you can. If you're a non-essential business, are you engaged in your community? There's a local restaurant down the road yesterday, and I looked on Facebook, and it's good when you see these things because you realize that the owner posted something on Facebook and said, "Hey, we're open, we're doing these things." And I messaged them and said, "Well, how are you taking orders today?" And they said, "By phone." And I said, "Oh, great." And I called them, placed an order, and went and bought my food last night. But let them know you're not out of business. Let them know that if you are non-essential, that you are still engaged, that you're still coming back. So hang in there with us. I think that's it for me.
I think that's a really relevant point for all of us. I think even as a chamber, we're I guess you can say we're one of the primary resources for, small businesses in general, or just the community at large, right, to touch base and find out, what's going on. How's everybody else doing? Are we in this by ourselves? Are other people facing the same issues we're facing? And as a chamber, and I, you touched on some points that are really relevant to us as well. We want to make sure that they know we're still alive and that we're still going forward, because we want to make sure that we're supporting, them in their time of need. So, so it's a full, from a viewpoint of, if their businesses are also open, we're all in this together, is kind of the view in this. And if you can show that, you can hold your hand up and say, I'm still here, I'm still alive, I'm still working, I'm still thriving. Or, yeah, we press the pause button, but we're here if you need us. I think that's the general, consensus right now, how most businesses are feeling.
Right.
So,
And I
so
saw,
if you're
not to
sorry,
go
ahead.
No, okay. I saw another business that was a service business, and they were actually, if you called them for service, they would get the service technician. They would do a video on how to repair whatever it was you called about, and they would send it back to you. There was no cost. There was no fee to that. It was engaging. And if you can imagine being the other person on the other end with now a video, perhaps they could have looked it up on YouTube or something, but this came from the outfit. They got the video, they were able to look at it and say, okay, that just sticks with you.
Right.
And you'll remember that, and you'll go back.
Oh, yeah.
When it's time.
I mean, I think any business, for the most part, especially in the service industry, or restaurant industry, doesn't really matter. Any industry, it's about the person, and it's about the relationship you have and your experience with that organization or that company or that individual that keeps you coming back. And in a customer oriented world that we live in, this is where some of the larger corporations kind of lose. I mean, the whole no touch thing becomes a little bit more impersonal. The smaller businesses have that advantage in that, the no touch piece, well, that's just a small piece. You still have very high touch with small businesses. And,
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your insight into all the different pieces that we can actually utilize.
Absolutely.
I think it's going to help all of us, to implement, making sure that all these boxes are checked, as we move forward.
Right.
And getting through this. But does anyone have questions for Randy before we end our webinar?
With the poll, I haven't received any questions, but if you would like to submit one now, you can always use the chat box.
Don't think I see anything coming through, but why don't we put it back to the first slide that has Randy's contact information, and we can send all of our participants the slides. Divya, we can do that, yes?
Yes.
And that will have his information on it, and they can reach him and email him some questions. And please, by all means, email us if you have questions regarding the chamber or just your situation, or if anything that we can help you with, whether it's connecting you with somebody within the city or a resource of any kind. Please let us know how we can help. We want to. So on that note, I am going to go ahead and conclude this meeting, this webinar. And Randy, thank you so much for your input and your time and your energy and helping us.
Yeah.
We'll call upon you again for sure, I'm certain.
Okay. And let me just say this in closing. I'm here to help. So if you want to reach out to me, please do. This isn't a sales call. We want to get you going. We want you back in business. We want you. We all kind of rely on each other here. So
we do.
So even if you have something for me that's off topic, please, by all means, give me a shout.
Oh, you mean you want us to call you and find out where the best burger in Carrollton is?
I probably have some suggestions.
All right.
Well,
have a wonderful day and enjoy it. It's beautiful outside.
Well, thank you. I'll certainly try to do that.
And practice social distancing.
Here we are.
Yeah. All right. Take care. Thank you so much, Randy.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.